Hey, slasher fans. Hellhound here. Welcome to another episode of my review show. Today, I'm going to review Slumber Party Massacre from 1982. Yep, that's right. This is one we're going to look at today. Now, you can pretty much guess from the title what this movie's about. I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself. A bunch of girls have a slumber party and fall victim to a maniacal killer. Pretty generic, typical by-the-number slasher formula, and that's all it is. That's all the movie ever tries to be, and it works. It was surprisingly written and directed by women, including famed feminist writer Rita Mae Brown. It was directed by Amy Jones. So it's a little different. Let's see. The main premise is that an escaped mental patient named Russ Thorne, who I believe suffers from probably what I can gather is some sort of paranoid schizophrenia, maybe some personality disorders, a very severe case. He escapes. It's all over the papers, all over radio broadcasts, and he steals a power drill, great big, there it is, which, makes for a pretty efficient weapon, and that's what he uses to kill people with. First he kills a phone repair woman, and, then just goes after the girls that he's spying on in a high school. We have Michelle Michaels, who plays Trish. She's pretty much the main character. She's the one hosting the slumber party. Then we have the new girl, Valerie, played by the late Robin Still, a.k.a. Robin Rochelle. She actually committed suicide a few years ago, so that's very tragic. And then we have Brink Stevens in one of her earlier roles as Linda, who actually doesn't last very long and doesn't make it to the slumber party, and a few others. So these girls, Valerie, the new girl, actually isn't invited, so she stays home and watches her younger sister Courtney while their parents are out of town. So this slumber party goes on. Russ Thorne, the killer with the huge drill, finds out about it, and he arrives and decides to do a little partying of his own. And by that I mean brutally killing them all one by one. Also, their boyfriends and some other guys from school show up to crash the party, and a pizza delivery man shows up with both of his eyes gouged out. Lots of crazy stuff. Now, Russ Thorne, the killer, is played by Michael Viella. At least I believe that's how to pronounce his name. He's not very intimidating, not very menacing. He's kind of a... I'm not going to say a sissy, but he's kind of a wimp. I kind of feel like my grandma could have kicked his ass, but he does have the big power drill, so it's kind of hard to fight somebody who has that, especially when he sneaks up on each victim and, kills them one by one as opposed to going after them all at once. But he is pretty easily overpowered in certain scenes. He's a little clumsy, but at the same time, it makes him a little more human. He's a little more believable than, supernatural killers like Jason and Freddy. And he is definitely very creepy. I think Viella does a pretty good job in the part. He even has a little bit of dialogue at the very end of the movie, where he really gets to show off some of his acting chops. Definitely a very, very creepy guy, for sure. Maybe not the most physically imposing villain, but he definitely gives you the willies with his performance. Overall he downplays the part. Russ Thorne's a very, very quiet and very ominous, introverted character. But it's pretty much what you expect. Loads of gratuitous female nudity, lots of blood splatter, lots of creative kills. Most are done with the power drill, which was a really good choice for a slasher's weapon of choice. There you have Slumber Party Massacre from 1982. Now, this movie is actually the first in a trilogy. That's right, there were 2 sequels. Now, get ready for this one. because, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I could do this review justice. But here we have the first sequel, Slumber Party Massacre 2, from 1987. Okay, now, where do I begin to even describe this movie? If you've seen it, you'll know what I mean. But, okay, well, let's start with the premise, okay? Courtney, the younger sister of Valerie from the first movie, is now a lot older. Her sister is actually in a mental institution following the events of the first movie, you know, after such a traumatic experience. Now, you know, her sister's in the asylum. Both of them are played by different actresses, by the way. And Courtney has several nightmares and visions of, you know, what happened with Russ Thorne. They were forced to fight back and eventually kill him in the end after he killed most of their friends. And so, yeah, she has several visions, you know, but aside from thinking about Russ Thorne, she starts dreaming about this guy. Yeah, she's in an all-girl band with some other chicks. One of them was played by Juliette Cummins, who you recognize from Friday the 13th Part 5 and Psycho 3. She gets topless in all three movies. And she actually looks a lot prettier in this movie than she does in the other two, which this one was made even later, so maybe she ages backwards, who knows, but yeah, so Courtney starts dreaming about this weird guy and his crazy guitar drill prop. He looks like Andrew Dice Clay, and he sings and dances and plays his guitar drill all the time. Now, he doesn't actually show up until an hour into the movie. Aside from her visions, and he finally appears physically, yeah, an hour into the movie. It never explains where he comes from. He just kind of shows up, and he immediately starts killing all her friends, the members of her band and their boyfriends, with his guitar drill, all the while singing and dancing while doing so. Now, I can't think of any other horror movie, let alone a slasher, that has a villain that looks like an evil version of John Travolta from Grease, who sings and dances and plays the guitar while he's killing. Now, I have no idea what they were smoking, what kind of drugs they were on when they made this crazy movie, but I really have to wonder, because, wow, it takes, I mean, you know, the first movie was corny and, you know, not very serious, but this movie just takes it to another extreme, another level of absurdity. I mean, wow. I mean, come on, we have an evil fawns killing people with a guitar drill, which is a really cool prop, by the way. I would love to own a replica of that, or the original, even better. Looks very cool. They did a great job on it. That's one hell of a design. Now, the driller killer, no backstory is given, other than, you know, the visions that Courtney has of him. He's played by Atanas Illich. At least I think that's how to pronounce his name. I've never heard anybody speak it out loud. And he does a hell of a job. He really hams it up. You can tell the actor is having fun. He performs musical numbers like songs like Let's Buzz and Can't Stop Loving You and a few others. All the while, all kinds of crazy lights are going on. It's like the whole thing's a music video while he does his killing. I've heard different theories. I've heard that it's all in Courtney's mind. You know, she's like just having a nightmare. She's dreaming about this guy, and like since she suffers from some sexual repression, you know, nightmares of what Russ Thorne massacring her friends, you know, and the fact that she's an all-girl band, she just visualizes this, you know, tormentor, you know, as a 50s type rock and roll greaser with a phallic-looking guitar drill. So, you know, that's one theory. Another theory is that she's the killer, and she's just imagining this guy, you know, to get rid of her guilt or whatever, and she's the one doing the killing, and he's just, you know, the kind of the avatar, the moniker that, you know, she's using in her head. But my favorite theory is that he's actually the ghost of Russ Thorne, back from the grave, and somehow looking like an evil Andrew Dice Clay and having supernatural powers. Now, that's my favorite theory. I don't know whether, you know, maybe Russ Thorne possessed this guy and is getting revenge or what. I don't know. It's never explained. Probably never will be. I don't even think the makers of this movie knew. I think they just had certain ideas There's all kinds of other weird, crazy, over-the-top scenes, like a dancing turkey that spews blood, and a girl's ginormous zit taking up her whole face and then exploding into yellow pus. Some really nasty, really out there stuff. Yeah, this movie makes no sense, but I highly recommend you go check it out immediately, because I guarantee you'll never see anything else like it. Wow, I mean, I could go on and on and on about how crazy this movie is. I really do dig the soundtrack. The musical numbers performed by the leather-clad driller killer are kind of catchy. And some of the pop tunes played by Courtney's all-girl band are kind of okay, too. Some of them kind of got on my nerves. Yeah, this movie's more like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie than a straight-up, slasher like the first film. Because, I mean, Slumber Party Massacre, the original, this could really happen, There are plenty of, sick weirdos who get off on killing in the world, just like Russ Thorne. There are people like that out there, terrifyingly enough. But this movie, oh my gosh, I just don't even know. Yeah, take another good look at that killer right there. This awesome guitar drill. I got to get me one of those. Being a guitarist myself, and that would just be an awesome one to add to my collection, along with my Gibson and my Ibanez and my, just that would be the greatest one probably. But yeah, wow, Slumber Party Massacre 2 from 1987. It's got to be seen to be believed. Yeah, wow. Now there was another sequel, Slumber Party Massacre 3. This came out in 1990. Also directed by a woman, just like the first two. Now, this one, they take it a little more seriously. It's a little darker than the first two. And the killer this time, it's actually a mystery. It's a whodunit. You don't know the identity of the killer because he conceals his appearance with a mask and a hood. So you don't know who he is until towards the end of the movie. And once you find out who his identity is, I won't give it away for those who haven't seen it. And his motivation, something about a traumatic childhood. He's got a tortured past. It deals with his. It involves his deceased uncle, but I won't get into any more than that. It'll still be a surprise if you see the movie as to the identity. As I said, this one is definitely darker. It's my least favorite of the three because it's not as fun as the first two, and yes, it takes itself a little more seriously. It's still really cheesy. Still got all these ingredients: gratuitous female nudity, blood splatter, terrible, atrocious acting. All the right ingredients are there, but it's not nearly as fun. But I will say it does have the most brutal kills of the series. It's definitely the most vicious entry, so I'll give it that. That's definitely a plus. But I'm not as entertained by it as the first two, especially part 2. But yeah, what else can I say? I was kind of underwhelmed when I first saw this one, but it still fits pretty well. The back of the box actually gives away who the killer is. But, and so the trailer does too, so whatever. Yeah, I'm still not going to spoil it by giving his name or whatever. But yeah, this guy also wields a power drill. It's a little smaller than the one in the first movie, and of course it's not a guitar like the second one. And there's a few other creative deaths too, one with a sledgehammer, one with a knife. You even kill somebody with a for sale sign. So, yeah, it's definitely the bloodiest. So, there's that. I guess it, it has its place. But yeah, well, that's the Slumber Party Massacre trilogy. Parts 1, 2, and 3. I recommend them. I'd say go check them out. And after you see the second one for the first time, you know exactly what I mean. Yeah, drugs are bad. Say no to drugs. Alright, well, that's Slumber Party Massacre. I don't think there's anything more that needs to be said. I'm Hellhound, and thank you for watching my show.